For a loan for up to $5,000 and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Last year, we had 295 trials where we've been offered a total of $90 million on all those cases. When the dust settled, we had recovered over $1.1 billion in verdicts and mid-trial settlements. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won a lot, $30 billion and counting. The best part of all those wins is that it helps you when you hire us. All those wins allow us to let the insurance company know we mean business. And believe me, they know who we are. If you've been injured, Google Morgan & Morgan results. You're not bragging if it's a fact. 3 million people tried to hire us last year alone. That happened for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com and let's get started this minute. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
When it comes to surgery, trust matters. At Independence Health System, our award-winning surgeons use advanced techniques and technology to deliver safe, precise, and personalized care. We offer minimally invasive options for faster recovery, smaller incisions, and less risk. From hernia repair to bariatric surgery, our skilled team is here for you every step of the way. Learn more at independence.health. Independence Health System. Expert care here.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. In Bakersfield, California, at this hour, a man is inside of a Chase bank claiming to have a bomb and holding people inside. Sergeant Eric Celadon.
With the cooperation of our crisis negotiation team and the assistance of the FBI negotiations team, we were able to negotiate the safe surrender of one of the hostages.
An unspecified number of other hostages remain inside. U.S. Central Command confirming that the U.S., Kuwait, and Bahrain brought down Iranian ballistic missiles and drones, and that the U.S. conducted airstrikes on Qeshm Island in response to attempted attacks by Iran across the Middle East. This is sirens activated in Bahrain, residents being urged to go to a safe location. And the Kuwait Army said its air defenses are currently confronting hostile missile and drone attacks. Primaries in 6 states today. Polls now closed in New Jersey. Polls close in Iowa, New Mexico, and South Dakota at 8 Central Time. All eyes on California, where voters are casting ballots in the race for governor and L.A. mayor. This is ABC News.
Life's best moments start with perfect choices. For Connie Nowak, it was a trolley ride and a 67-year love story. A life of family, smart decisions, and companionship with Chester the cat. Her retirement choice? The Village at St. Barnabas. Recreation, healthcare, close to family, everything on her list. Plus, it's an exceptional retirement value with a flexible entry process and affordable rates. St. Barnabas Retirement Communities, stbarnabascommunities.com, or call 724-444-5568.
Tickets are on sale now for the upcoming season of the Pittsburgh Speakers Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, with Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden, and acclaimed war photographer Lindsay Addario. For information and tickets, go to pittsburghspeakers.org. Sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James.
Hey, want to do dinner with us tonight?
I don't know. The kids just left. I think we're just going to stay in tonight.
Oh, come on. Don't miss out again.
Miss out on what?
Catch
catching up with friends, the sounds of winning, celebrations, endless laughs, and memories they'll never forget. Don't just hear about the fun. Time moves fast, so go have it. Rivers Casino. Don't miss the moment.
When you're handling an estate or an inherited home, the decisions can feel overwhelming. At Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, we help families through this every single week. We make a quick, fair cash offer on the home, coordinate any cleanouts, help you through the process, and we'll buy it in its current condition. No pressure, no surprises. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057 for help selling today. That's 412-500-9057 for help selling today.
Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's local trusted home buyer since 2015.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
With patchy clouds tonight while below around 50, and then a good deal of sunshine for tomorrow with a high near 80. Partly sunny Thursday, high 82, and highs getting into the upper 80s by Friday. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
There's been a lot of talk about America celebrating its 250th anniversary. We've been doing that all year long. Each week, we bring a new national park to light. And this week, we're going to talk to a person who is in charge of the National Park of First Ladies. We'll explain. It's America at Night with me, McGraw-Milhaven. Come join us. Tonight at 10 on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, so I got to stay on this school team just a little bit longer, and I'll tie it into something right now. So Peebo Bryson died today, the age of 75, best known for Beauty and the Beast. What a talent, okay? Only 75. I mentioned earlier that he had a serious health issue a couple of days ago. They were saying it was a stroke, and I was praying that he would be okay, and obviously he passed away. But you know what I remember from being a part of the middle class when it did exist? That was school and the extracurriculars. I don't even know how many of you remember this, but remember your first dance? We had what they called canteen at that middle school. My first experience with cafeteria food that I was just talking to Lucia about. But I remember as a 7th grader. Now, so how old are you in 7th grade? Like 12, 11, something like that? I remember it was one Saturday a month, and it went from like 7 to 10:30, and it was in the gymnasium at the middle school on Penn Avenue in New Brighton, which was then the junior high school. Now, you got to realize all the elementary schools from New Brighton came together 7th, 8th, and 9th, okay? And sadly, they put you in categories, A, B, C, D. And, you know, if you were an A and B, you were a pretty good student. But if you were like in 7C, like me, a little bit to be desired. But that was back in the day. And hooligans, roughhousers, comedians, class clowns, a little slow to learn, but lovable. That was us. So I come from this little place in New Brighton called Marion Hill Elementary School. Kindergarten, then I skip out and go to 2nd and 3rd grade to this little brewer schoolhouse in the country. That's right, 2-room schoolhouse. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough. And then I come back to Marion Hill, and I kick it there until 6th grade. Then I'm off to the big city of New Brighton. Roll down the hill in that yellow school bus, get off Penn Avenue, and there it is, larger than life, the junior high. And there's ninth graders, guys that can actually shave and have driver license, right? And you're just a kid. And you came from being big man on campus in kickball and wiffle ball and, you know, to do the most pull-ups on the playground, to now you're just a little nothing. And you're just thinking, dear God, let me get through this. And then the momentum, the dance. Are you going to the dance? Now, our parents grew up in an era with big bands. That's all they ever did was dance. From the time they were young, they were single and they mingled. And when these men went off to war, they came back. They brought music. They brought life. It rolled into their high school sweetheart. They got married. And every weekend they would be somewhere dancing. The Elks, the Moose, you name it, the American Legion. They were dancing. So mother teaching you to dance. I'll never forget showing me how to dance in the kitchen before the big dance. And you were like sweating bullets. It's just days away. What am I going to do? And she'd say, let me take you to Beaver Falls and get you a nice shirt and tie. Now, granted, this is what we did, all because of those middle-class jobs. Working-class jobs. Had nothing to do with who the president was, who the mayor of New Brighton was, or Pittsburgh was. It was because of names like J&L, Bethlehem Steel, St. Joe Lead, Crucible Steel, United States Steel. All because of that. So, and then that Saturday comes, and one of the parents in the group says, I'll drive him, you pick him up. We're rolling down New Brighton in that station wagon, and we get let out. Watch crossing the street. I'll be right here at 10:30, or someone will be right here. Make sure you're here. Nobody knows what to anticipate. So you're going through these hallways that look so different now because it's dark. It's night. It's not first thing in the morning. It's not the first light of the day. There's no school bells. There's no teachers walking the hall. And you just have a custodian with a mop and a bucket. And some hallways are lit and others aren't. Well, then you take a door that you never even knew existed. It's the back way to the gymnasium. Down the steps. And you get to the first landing and you can start hearing music. And your heart's pumping so fast you feel like you're going to have a heart attack. Palms are sweaty. Acting cool, but in reality, so afraid of everything. You got your guys with you. All acting tough, or at least trying to. And then those doors open and that lighting. And it's not lit like it would be for a sporting event or a gym class or whatever, or something that is being done on that stage in which the band is playing, the cheerleaders are doing what they do. No pep rally, just mood lighting and that stuff they put on the gym floor, which I don't even know what it was. And so you're listening to the music, and it's like 9 o'clock, and you're thinking, I got to ask somebody to dance. And then you do it. And then you love it. It was something that I would do until I was in my late 20s. But back in the day, in my early 20s, Sunday to Sunday, we were out every single night. In fact, many Sundays right over the hill here in Greentree at the old Holiday Inn Greenery. We had fun. We did things. You understand that kids, because they're just trying to survive today, school districts are just trying to get enough money to get through another school year to keep the lights burning because we've lost the tax base. We've lost the middle class. The greatest generation is sadly no longer with us. And we baby boomers are hanging on to what we remember when refrigerators were filled. People weren't fighting over things like, I don't have money for your child. I don't have, an opportunity to be able to go to a school supply store and shell out all this money. Isn't the school supposed to pay for that? I didn't grow up in an era where they were arguing about a prescription price or a doctor's visit or going to the dentist or new school clothes. And remember that? You went to J.C. Penney, Sears, Kaufman's, Horns, Gimbel's. Nobody was complaining about not having any money. Everybody had money because everybody had a job, and everybody knew within 2 weeks they'd be getting another paycheck, and every payday it was time to go to the grocery store. The highlight of the month, twice a month. None of this is happening today because we have literally ripped the carpet out from underneath the American family. And while listening to Lucia talk about this food and these kids, man, I wish I had stupid money. Because one thing a kid should never have to worry about, or a parent, is food. Every kid should be able to go out and play on a hot summer day, ride their bike, and go to the local ice cream stand, or when that ice cream truck comes rolling through the town with a little bell, every kid should be able to grab a couple of bucks off mom and dad and go get that dreamsicle, because kids are supposed to dream. But don't you see what we're doing and all the things that I'm talking about? We're taking away opportunities for kids to create dreams. You know, summer isn't just fun anymore. It's not swimming in the pool. It's not going on vacation or sleeping out in the backyard today. There's issues. People are dealing with serious issues every day. So don't you want to be on the right side? Yeah, that's right, Mimi Tambellini. How about that dance at Armando's? We had fun. We enjoyed ourselves. You know, I love my children, but I'm like, doesn't anybody dance? Doesn't anybody hold hands? Doesn't anybody go to the movies? They have fun. They do it differently. They go in a whole crowd. Look, don't get me wrong. I don't mind palling around with a group of people, but if I'm with a significant other or a woman, you're going to have to go. I got a little me time, hugs, you know what I mean? That's what you live for. That's what makes your heart pound. That's what makes you want to get up and grow up. It's just sad that we live in a society today where kids can't be kids anymore because we've taken it away from them. And every time a mill closes, a manufacturing site closes, it all goes back on the people that are just trying to raise their kids. And that's why I was so angry about this price for gasoline. People can't afford that. And now you've got American Airlines. They're going to stop nonstop flights to Los Angeles. And I guarantee you there's somebody listening to me right now. Well, that means our trip to Los Angeles is going to be different. Or it's going to take away, and it's not American Airlines' fault. If you think you're paying a lot, what do you think these airlines are paying for jet fuel? All of this stuff that I'm talking about, layer upon layer upon layer, and why we're hung up with this war in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz and gas prices, it's because we don't have enough resources in our country, because we just kept throwing it away. Throwing it away. How many of you understand like I do? If we don't get a handle on this, our kids will never have any life to remember, worth remembering, because the little things that make a big difference, that give them an opportunity to have cherished memories like I'm sharing with you right now. And I promise you, as I was walking virtually down that hall at that junior high school, you were right there with me. And you know it. The prom, your first date, your first dance, your dad giving you the keys to the Buick, but you had to wash and wax it before you did and make sure you brought it back with a full tank of gas, even if it came out of your own pocket. But you did it just to go on a date. And nobody beeped the horn. You walked to the front door, you came in, and you said, boy, their house smells a little different than my house. And you would sit there, and the dad would grill you. So what do you want to do with your life? How are your parents? You know, I know your mom and dad real well. Talk to them all the time at church. And you just can't wait to get out with that girl. And then you see her for the first time, and you can't hear a word that dad's saying. These are memories. These are things I think about late at night, saying, where did my life go? It went to a good cause, raising my kids. And now, as they approach that time in their life, especially Robbie and Eva, I want them to have what I had, memories. 866-391-1020. Let's get on some phones right now and call me. Let's talk about a number of things that we've thrown out there since 6 o'clock. A lot of stuff to make your wheels turn. Call me, 866-391-1020.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
As parents, we have a million things running through our minds. Playdates, checkups, groceries, laundry, diapers, work, carpool schedules, picture day, swim team, did we mention diapers, birthday parties, meal prep, lost permission slips, dentist appointments, and the dog that still needs to be walked. So it's easy to make a mistake. Oh, I forgot birthday candles. Sit tight, hon, I'll be right back. We say we'd never put our kids in danger by leaving them in the car alone. Oh, wait, since when are candles not on the baking aisle? But never happens. And temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you, and every time you park the car, stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that. I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different. And I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and powerful. That taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Look, no one's living in the past. I don't think I'd survive it if I had to go back and live it again. But I want a future. I want a future in America. And when I heard that story about what they're doing in Rochester, feeding these kids, these babies, if you will, I thought, you know what? America is a good place. There are good people. And Lucia, I've known since she was a small child. She's a grown woman now. But she is attacking this as her father did, creating his business, which is the Valley Concrete in Ambridge, and the mother who made it all work behind the scenes. I want more stories like that. I want to tell more stories. Look, you know what would make me happy the rest of my life? If I could just go out and blaze a trail and spend the day finding good news, talking to people that are making a difference. You know, when I got out of television in 2008, because I had just I was done. I was toast. I was working round the clock, nonstop, 2 hours of sleep a night, couldn't say no to anyone. But I missed the juice. I missed the action. And then this great thing called social media came around. I remember when I signed up, early 2009, I thought, boy, this could be a great resource. But if you have a type A personality like me, it can become a full-time job. And no one's making any money. I haven't made a single cent since 2009. And there have been thousands across the page. TikTok, X, Facebook, my YouTube channel, Instagram. Because I can't get enough of these good stories. I see people making major differences every single day. And there's some really good young people. You know, I was talking to the cafeteria workers, and there was a gleam in their eyes. They couldn't wait for those children to be there. They couldn't wait to have that opportunity this summer. Look, you only get a handful of summers as a kid. And I'd give anything to be back on that hill in New Brighton with my crew, the original Pratt Pack, all 12 of them, walking side by side off into the sunset to enjoy another night, or early on in the morning to go play some sandlot baseball or swim at the neighbor's pool. And yeah, coming of age. And did you hear about the new girl that moved in the neighborhood? All of that stuff. So innocent, so wonderful. But they've taken it from us because we've let them, because we took the mills away. We took the mills away, the manufacturing, the heartbeat. We've destroyed the American family. And now that some of us who have worked ourselves almost into the ground, we want to see our children have stories and memories, but they don't. They're doing good. They have good lives. They're happy, but they're not going to be able to talk about some of the things that I just discussed because they have never been in a community where there's working class. And I'm going to leave you with this, and we're going to get to all these phone calls in just a minute. 866-391-1020. This is when I knew it was getting bad. When my kids were small, to give their mother a break, I would put them in the car seat. We'd go to a Sheetz or a McDonald's, and we'd drive around. And I'd take them back to the old neighborhood called Branson Heights. Loved it. Man, tell stories, tell a few lies. Everybody would laugh. My kids would chuckle. Great stories. And as they got older, who lived there? So-and-so. Who lived there? They knew the entire neighborhood. Well, one day, when I got divorced and I was missing my kids, and believe me, I cried myself to sleep more times than you can imagine, and nobody has ever come to help. And that's okay, because you got to do it alone sometimes. This one was different. This stung a little bit harder, and I got to be honest with you. I'm good now. I'm in a better place, and I need to be right where I'm at because this is where I was meant to be, but it was rough. And then I started driving through that neighborhood one night, and I went, oh, that house is empty. Boy, that house is empty. Man, I don't think anybody's lived there for a long time. It actually came to my neighborhood. Now, it's doing much better now, but it came to the place of land, hopes, and dreams. And I said, what is happening here? It's simple. The middle class disappeared, gone. All of the men that were part of that neighborhood who would be out on a night like tonight enjoying a beer, listening to the Pirate game on KDKA radio are dead and gone, just like the places that they worked. My dad's place is gone. All of my friends whose fathers worked at either B&W or Townsend or Crucible or J&L, all gone. What are you going to do, America? What side are you going to be on? We had a pandemic that killed 1 million people, nurses watching people die every day because they had to go in the room and hold the hand of that dying relative because the family could not go in that room. And we couldn't even get ventilators because we weren't making them in America. To me, that's a travesty. Don't you see? Connect the dots. Everything I'm talking about tonight, it's about jobs. It's about that dignity that you get when you have a job. Listen, if I had to end up as I am now, alone, at 69 years of age, so my children could end up where they are today, I'd do it again. Because if I had them and we were all together living under one roof and I went through 10 years without being able to clothe or feed them and we had issues with money, I would have been done. It would have broke my spirit, broke my will, broke my hope. Reason I did so much, because I never wanted them to go without. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it's who I am. But do you understand how many people have lost their dignity? Because they've lost their way. Because we have in America. All of your calls, I promise, next. 866-391-1020, your Pratt Pack.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-296-6868. That's 800-296-6868.
I need a little range, step to the range, come on, meet me at the
Introducing the new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club Sandwich. With that juicy Chick-fil-A chicken on a buttermilk ranch bun, jalapeno ranch sauce, and pickled jalapenos, it's a little ranch with a lot of kick. The new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club with original spicy or grilled filet. Available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Julian Gray Associates has the most certified elder law attorneys of any law firm in the nation, right here in Pittsburgh. They also have experienced social workers so that you can prepare a plan to age with dignity that you can afford. Visit grayelderlaw.com.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
All right, son, time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said,
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds. About as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, contact NICB at reportinsurancefraud.org. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. An active hostage situation this hour in Bakersfield, California. Police say a man barricaded himself inside of a bank building. He's holding an unknown number of people inside, but we know one has been released. Negotiators are speaking with the suspect who claims to have a bomb, Sergeant Eric Celadon.
We haven't confirmed that there is a bomb. We haven't confirmed any of that yet. There was a threat for a bomb, but we haven't confirmed any of that yet. It's too unsafe to do so.
To the Middle East, U.S. forces helped intercept Iranian missiles and conducted self-defense strikes on Qeshm Island following attempted attacks by Iran. That from CENTCOM, which says missiles launched at Kuwait and Bahrain were either unsuccessful or intercepted. And this as the U.S. military says it's disabled an oil tanker that ignored orders off the coast of Iran. Right to ABC's Martha Raddatz.
U.S. Central Command says the ship, which was empty, ignored repeated warnings over a 24-hour period as it made its way toward Iran's Karg Island. A Hellfire missile launched from a U.S. warplane into the ship's engine room. The Botswana-flagged oil tanker is now disabled. It is the 6th commercial vessel that the U.S. has disabled as part of the naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
The Trump administration seems to be abandoning its anti-weaponization fund. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche was grilled about it on Capitol Hill from lawmakers in both parties. His explanation?
The reasons for the fund is something that President Trump talked about for a long time, which is the fact that there were a lot of people in this country who had their government weaponized against them. The reasons for the fund, I think, it remain as important as they were before, but we are not moving forward with the fund.
The $1.8 billion fund held up in courts to determine whether it's legal. Remembering Peabo Bryson.
Just a little change.
His family says the Grammy-winning singer died today after suffering a stroke. Bryson was 75. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and Armorview. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the Secret War on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
A search is underway in California's Lake Tahoe for a 60-year-old man who went missing during a Memorial Day hike. Jason Coffrin was last known to be at Angora Peak. The search also continues for 2 miners still missing in a flooded Laos cave.
One of the coordinators, they reported hearing knocking sounds, but other divers we've spoken to now say that could be a false alarm. The rescuers, though, they do say it is still possible these guys are alive. One of the divers telling us they're looking at several possible entry points to a 6th chamber where the men could be.
ABC's Britt Clennon at the Foreign Desk. An investigation underway in Chester, Pennsylvania, where authorities busted a suspected cockfighting ring.
It's okay, honey. It's okay.
Our cameras are rolling as state and local police, along with the SPCA, raided a warehouse. Inside, police say they interrupted a cockfight in progress.
There was food set up, drinks set up.
Nicole Wilson is the director of animal law enforcement for the SPCA. She says this was a complex operation involving 25 people from as far away as New York. They say they found 52 live chickens and 3 that had already died from fighting.
ABC's John Paul. The Center for Humane Economy says another 135 dogs will be removed from Ridgeland Farms in Blue Mounds, Wisconsin, the facility that breeds beagles used in biomedical research. That'll bring the total number of rescued beagles to 1,635. Dave Packer, ABC News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
With a partly cloudy sky tonight, we'll have a low around 50 degrees. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, a high close to 80. Mainly clear tomorrow night, low 54, and then we'll see some sun for Thursday, high 82. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Topsett, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, here we go. You folks have been waiting a long time, so the floor is yours. Let's go to Judy, and then we'll get to Mike, 866-391-1020. Judy in North Strabane, good evening. You're on the air with your Pratt Pack, KDKA.
Good evening, and I'm so glad that although so many things have changed, you can still talk to KDKA on the radio.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. I feel the same way.
For that. But I love listening to your talk shows, and I can only say that I wish that life could be as simple and uncomplicated for my nieces and nephews and grandchildren as it was for me. And when I look at what they have to contend with today, it actually makes me sad. Yeah, they may have a whole lot more in some respects, but they are losing out so much on not having the simple life that we were able to enjoy way back in my days.
I agree. You know what just went through my mind, Judy, and I don't know why, but it is what it is. I started thinking about climbing trees as a kid when you were talking.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I thought to myself, and we had this Kumashot family that lived in the neighborhood, and one of their daughters was kind of like a tomboy. Really cool, really bonded with her. And I remember her and I climbing this weeping willow tree and sitting up there literally for hours one summer day and just chatting and overlooking the neighborhood. And I thought to myself, all the places I've been, all of the people that I've met, that may have been one of the greatest moments in my life. I mean, here I am now, say, 50 years later, and I'm still remembering that moment. And it just went through my stream of consciousness moments ago. I don't know if my kids ever climbed a tree.
Yeah, and it's funny you should mention that, because that's one of the things that has been going through my mind recently. All of the enjoyment that we used to get by going out and climbing the trees in the neighborhood. And yeah, there were many broken bones. And we didn't think anything of it. Hey, you healed up. But today, in a way, I want to say we are protecting our children from those very things that made our lives so enjoyable.
Absolutely.
And not only that, but we got exercise that today the parents are paying money for them to go and get that exercise. We used to get it on our own just by going out and enjoying our daily life and having fun.
Yeah, we didn't want to leave our neighborhood, Judy. We loved it. And listen, we got up in the morning, we were gone, and we came home for dinner, and then we were gone again. Our parents actually had some alone time. They actually got a chance to get acquainted with each other. I don't know. Anybody else with some of these thoughts? All the stuff that we've talked about in the last couple of days, from school board meetings and all the things that are happening in the county and things that are happening where you live that you can identify with, all of it comes from the fact that we have no middle class in America anymore. 866-391-1020. Here's Mike in that great community of Shaler, Pennsylvania. Hey, Mike.
Howdy. I agree with you guys in respect that I definitely miss the days where we went outside, played baseball, and swam summer and all that. But I wanted to bring up the point that I went to the county meeting tonight in the Gold Room, and I went in with the attitude that, hey, we have to preserve business, we're losing population, all those kind of things. And Sarah Annamarato spoke, and she said, quite frankly, she had given up on the federal government and the state to bring in paid family leave because, quite frankly, it shouldn't be at the county level. It should be more at the national or the state level. And I agree with that. The people that spoke today, a lot of nurses from both AHN and UPMC that were mothers themselves, and they talked about how this would help them out and how they had to go back to work, many of them whom had worked through COVID, and they didn't have any way to take off. The one woman said, I only get 2 weeks off, and, we just can't afford for me and my husband not to work and, raise our family. It's impossible to have dad went to the steel mill, made enough money to raise me and my brothers. And, it's just not a non-starter in today's economy. And these people, they were very well educated, but the vast majority of them advocated for some form of paid paternal and maternal leave. And it's very strong arguments for it. I went in with a totally different attitude than I came out with. I'll be honest with you.
That's okay. That's good to hear, Mike. That's good to hear. I want to hear all sides.
Yeah, well, I had listened to the guys earlier in the day on the radio station, and they all came out very much, we can't do this, we can't do that. And that was my attitude, but somehow we have to do this. These young, if we want to have human beings, raised in America, we have to figure this one out. I totally changed my opinion. I don't even think Sarah Annamarato, if you want my opinion, I think she's just swinging for the fences. But I think, there could be some middle ground with where they are. The 18 weeks, that's like shock therapy.
Mike, you know as well as I do, and I mean this with the utmost respect. That is going to make it really difficult for a business to stay in business. And if you and listen, I got to believe most, whether it's the man or the woman, somebody has got that work ethic that is telling them, hey, this first 6 weeks has been great. This first 7 weeks, but man, it's now the 10th week, and I don't know what's going on at work. I want to, and I'd be looking at that baby as I always did with those 2:00 feedings. Who's going to put clothes, tennis shoes, this, that, whatever? I mean, you got to have a job, and you got to know what's going on at that job by being at that job. 18 weeks that's a summer plus.
You know what? I agree, and I think even Sarah Annamarato probably agrees. I shouldn't speak for her, but just some of the expressions on her face made me feel like there's some negotiating room here.
Listen, I don't have one problem with Sarah. She's welcome here anytime. So is Summer Lee. So is Corey O'Connor. So is anybody. Okay, this isn't a Democratic or a Republican show. This is the People's show, and I give everybody a chance to speak. I like her courage. I like Summer Lee's courage. I've said before, you don't find your congressperson on Face the Nation on a regular basis unless they're doing something. Fetterman, McCormick, I think we're in a really good place right now. Chris DeLuzio, my congressman. I just want us to understand one thing. I don't care what generation you're from. I don't care what party you belong to. I don't care about anything other than this. If we don't have manufacturing jobs, meds, eds, foundation, brick and mortar, the moral compass of every American family, every classroom, none of it survives, including Main Street. Whatever's left will eventually die if we don't have manufacturing. We got to have it.
Here's the problem. All the money has gone to the C-suite in corporate America.
Has gone to what? Where's it gone?
All the money has gone to the C-suite, the CEOs, the chief operating officers, all the higher level executives within the corporations. The money is not going to the workforce necessarily. It's not. The Reagan, starting with Reagan, the incentives because of the marginal tax rates allowed the corporate executives to retain a lot of that money, and so they did. There wasn't, before that, there wasn't as much incentive to hoard all the corporate profits for the C-suite, okay, the corporate executives. Now it's all hoarded by the corporate executives.
Well, let me jump in here. I got to get to a break. I'll give you the final word. I want to talk about Ronald Reagan on the other side of the break and where he really let me down. I'll explain that in a minute. But you have to understand, Mike, people in charge have always made money. The land barons, the people that we represent in Western Pennsylvania, Carnegie, Frick, Morgan, Westinghouse. I mean, Carnegie left with about $500 million, which would be about $20 billion today. So they always got rich, but they were paying a livable wage to the people who worked for them, and then the unions came in and made sure it was even better. But what happened, they both started ramming heads to the point that they gave up on life, and they started believing that no matter what, it would never go away. And then all of a sudden, the 80s showed up, and everything went away. I mean, I could just Crucible, J&L, Bethlehem Steel, American Bridge. I'd be here all night. B&W, they all left. And all we've done is complain since. Forget about people making money. There's always going to be about people making money. We just have to find a way to start building some of these factories again. It's the only way we survive. You got the last word.
It's the disproportionality. you know, my family was big into equitable gas. You know, literally, my grandfather built some of the first pipelines across the country. Literally, Italian immigrant. But those days are behind us in Allegheny County. They're behind us in America. Okay, you cannot raise a family in the United States of America on one income like my dad.
And that's a shame. That's a shame because either it should be the man or the woman, either one. And everybody should be getting equal pay. But either one, somebody should be home during those formative years because what happens, then you get the guilt thing, and then you start to worry, and then you start missing recitals and certain things that they're doing, football, soccer matches, whatever. Then the guilt thing starts to set in. Listen, it's just messed up. It's messed up. And you're putting too much pressure on the business owner to be compassionate when in reality, they want to be able to give a livable wage. They want to be able to give good health care. They want to give them a chance to put money in a 401k, but they have a job to do. And no matter who it is, even the person that owns it, if you don't do the job, you're going to go away. And if you're in one of those positions as the chairman or the CEO, and if you don't produce, not only does the worker maybe lose their job, you lose your job. So I appreciate the call. Anybody else, jump in here, 866-391-1020. But do you connect the present like I do to the past and why we're so messed up today? Don't you understand? Every story we talked about this week thus far goes back to the fact that we don't have enough good-paying jobs in America. That's what these politicians need to be doing. And maybe they won't be in a situation where they have to answer questions about what we've been talking about. 866-391-1020. Back with more in a moment.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
Did you feel that drafty breeze from your windows this winter? Yikes, it was scary cold. But just as scary is that you now know that your windows will let in that hot, humid air all summer. Let PJ Fitzpatrick help reduce your utility bills with custom-made, double-insulated replacement windows. PJ provides peace of mind with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. Plus, PJ Fitzpatrick has a variety of financing packages that work with any budget. You can have it all. Visit trustpj.com today for your new windows. That's trustpj.com.
Ready to start thinking like Wall Street without leaving Main Street? Tune in Sunday mornings at 6:30 for a slice of advice with Kelton Burgess. Right here on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know something else that we used to do in the summertime? And I can't tell you when I've been to one. Family reunions. You know, I drove by Brady's Run Park today. I had to go out and pay my cable bill. I like to do that the first of the month to make sure Comcast keeps the lights burning right in my house. Got to have that cable. And I do it because I like to go into the Comcast Xfinity store and like to see all the gizmos and gadgets, okay? I love it all. I do. As much as I was saying earlier about put the phone down, this and that, I love it. I love the streaming services. I can't get enough of it. I love it. Wi-Fi is my life, right? But as I was coming home, I was driving by the entrance to Brady's Run Park. And if you grew up in Beaver County, that was the go-to place. And now it's the Taj Mahal. You've got skating parks, you've got tennis, basketball, deck hockey, you got a walking trail that's second to none, you got a really cool lake that's got a little spillway, causeway, and you got fish, you can canoe, you can kayak, they've got beautiful shelters. It's great. They got nice restrooms. Back in the day, how many of you remember that the flies you'd have to actually do battle with to get into one of those outhouses back in the day at parks throughout western Pennsylvania and the country? But you put on your old tennis shoes, you go into the creek or crick, depending on how you pronounce it. You got your tadpoles, you got your frogs, you got your toads, you hung out, you went fishing, you got your little bluegill with your Zepco reel, right? And it was only charcoal. You had hot dogs, you had hamburgers, and don't ask for more. Just get one of each and get out. Bottle of Heinz ketchup, Heinz mustard, a big cast iron tub full of RC Cola or whatever your drink of choice was. Parents had some beer, they had a bottle of whiskey. Everybody got along. The family reunion. And you would always get, your parents would say to you, just before you park that car, make sure you go over and spend some time with your grandparents and say hi to your aunts and uncles and give them a hug. And no, they didn't have to remind us about that. We couldn't wait to see them, especially the hierarchy, the Pratts, you know, Emma and Bob, Robert Moses. I mean, they were like mythical heroes. They were legends. Couldn't wait to wrap my hands around them. I can still smell my grandmother and my grandfather. And you know what he would do? He would pull you close to him. He did this at his house. And when you retired from that mill where now Shell is, everybody got a little pocket knife, right? And I have that one that has Robert M. Pratt, P-R-A-T-T-E, as in Moses. His nickname, they would say, hey, Moses, saved by the water, as Moses was, if you know your Bible. He would say, I'm going to cut your ears off. And he had a big gold spittoon for his tobacco, mail pouch. But always was in a nice white shirt, dress pants, looked great, great head of hair, something I have no more. But I mean, this guy he died in 1964. I think it was 87, 88, didn't really know him, but I remember him. And he'd pull you close to him and he'd go, I'm going to cut your ears off. And they'd go, hey, Eva, hey, I'm to my mom, I'm taking it. Which one, left or right? And I know, don't try this at home, but he basically would finger like it was the knife. He'd show you the knife, but he would basically put the knife away and use his finger, and he'd start, and you'd be, no, and then you would laugh, right? But it was wonderful. We used to cram hundreds of people into their house on Pennsylvania Avenue on Christmas Eve. I mean, dozens of grandkids. I mean, everywhere, right? And then I'd roll to my grandmother's house, my mom's mom, who was just, us. My 5 sisters, me. Sometimes a cousin would stop or two, but it was just us. And we'd be in that little house or apartment, and we created memories. We went to her house every single Sunday for dinner until she got sick and died in 1984. I mean, I'm talking from the moment I could say hello, breathe, walk, crawl. We were there. No matter summer, winter, spring. I didn't care what was going on. You better be ready. But we never had to say no. We never tried to get out of it. We went every week, and we didn't eat and run like I see a lot of people do today because they got so many places to go and things to do, and in reality, they got nowhere to go. They're just making excuses because they don't know how to mingle with the family. We would sit there, watch a movie, hang out, read the paper. 6, 7 o'clock at night, we'd go home. Now, I'm telling you, we did this throughout my entire childhood and early adult until my grandmother died when I was 26, and I sat on a swing in the backyard and cried uncontrollably by myself for an hour because I knew my life would never be the same. Nobody would ever have my back like her. She was special. But we did these things because my dad had that job. All right? My dad had that job, and my grandmother would make so much food, we'd have to take it home. She did it on purpose. She worked 2 jobs so she could give us a Christmas. My grandmother worked 2 jobs so she could give us a Christmas. Don't you understand? We're losing everything. We're taking away what our children need desperately. They need us. They need us to give them the guiding light, to show them the way to a happy, healthy life. We need to start pushing these politicians into going to work to generate jobs. You know what's amazing? I promoted this Nippon U.S. Steel deal to where I couldn't really even think about it anymore because my mind was just entrenched in it. I couldn't think about anything else. $15.9 billion, saving who we are, the Steel City, creating jobs, refurbishing, fixing Edgar Thompson up. That would have never happened, ever. This new company, this powerhouse is injecting billions into this country, from Arkansas to Gary, Indiana, all over the country, all over the world. We should be doing cartwheels. If I'm a politician, it's the first thing out of my mouth. It's the last thing out of my mouth. But it took a Republican president to get it done, the golden ticket. He comes to West Mifflin. You have USW members with their hard hats saying, thank you, Mr. President. So that's why I say don't look at life on the Democratic or the Republican side. Look at it on the right side. That's the big question tonight. Are you on the right side of things? What do you remember if you grew up in the 60s, 70s? Talk to me. Or what you're dealing with now, even if you grew up in the 80s when there was some of it left, even in the 90s. We had a balanced budget. We're now $38 trillion in debt 30 years to the day later. And we keep subtracting and we keep losing. Don't you want to have a picnic in the backyard? Don't you want to go to the family reunion? Don't you want to go on a vacation? Don't you want to run to the neighbors and see what that convertible Chevrolet looks like? Don't you want to just be a part of a community where you're not worried if the school district is going to merge or just go away? Aren't you worried about people that you've gotten to know and love who work with you that may have to leave to find work elsewhere because their company is under siege right now or their business? So they may have to cut and you've got more seniority. You've come to know this person, you carpool with them, you sit and have lunch every day for years. Aren't you tired of all of this stuff going away? What do you miss most? I'm going to talk about it after the break. What I miss most about the middle class. What I miss most when that paycheck was healthy enough to enable my mother to work harder. And believe me, my dad would have died if he had to trade places with my mother. My dad had it easy, no doubt about it. But we had the ability to have that constant figure in our life. And it was the same story in all of my buddies' houses growing up. We need to get back to that. And I'm going to explain what we need to do. We got to do it now. And I'm also going to tell you about what I miss most. I'd love to hear from you, too. What do you miss most about those days? 866-391-1020. We'll be back.
Last year, I had back pain radiating down my right leg. The pain was so bad I was willing to cut my leg off to stop the pain. I could barely walk and had to stoop over when I did just to take pressure off the spine. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. In my professional career, I've represented thousands of people who've had herniated discs and issues with their neck and back, but never fully appreciated what they were going through until it was my turn. It's like trying to describe colors to a blind person who's never had sight. All I can tell you is it hurt like hell, but worse. My daily walk was gone, and that bothered me a great deal. Then I thought of all of you and how much more devastating this type of injury could be for you. My life stopped. I now feel your pain. Just know at Morgan & Morgan, we got your back. I understand. Morgan means more.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. One person has been released, but an unknown number of people are still being held inside a Bakersfield, California bank. A man barricaded himself inside the building this afternoon.
Inside the building, I can see inside the primary building. The subject's got people on their knees.
Emergency audio from Broadcastify. The suspect claims to have a bomb. Midterm primaries in 6 states tonight. Results coming in. ABC News projects Rebecca Bennett will be the Democratic nominee for Congress in New Jersey's 7th District. And in the South Dakota Republican Senate primary, ABC News projects incumbent Mike Rounds will win. And we project in the New Mexico Democratic Senate primary, incumbent Ben Ray Lujan wins that one. CENTCOM says U.S. forces helped intercept Iranian missiles and conducted self-defense strikes on Keshem Island following attempted attacks by Iran. This is the U.S. military says it disabled an oil tanker that ignored orders off the coast of Iran. This is ABC News.
Hello, KDKA listeners. This is Carlos, owner of Greater Pitt Tree Service. If you have any concerns about any trees on your property, call Greater Pitt Tree Service, 412-884-TREE. We have an A-plus rating on the Better Business Bureau. To serve your needs best, we have an ISA-certified arborist on staff. We have 32 years experience, 412-884-TREE. We will be your best choice for tree work. Greater Pitt Tree Service, 412-884-TREE. And remember, we did your neighbor's tree.
For all station contest rules, go to kdkaradio.com/rules.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
With patchy clouds tonight, we'll have a low around 50, and then a good deal of sunshine for tomorrow with a high near 80. Partly sunny Thursday, high 82, and highs getting into the upper 80s by Friday. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
There's been a lot of talk about America celebrating its 250th anniversary. We've been doing that all year long. Each week, we bring a new national park to light. And this week, we're going to talk to a person who is in charge of the National Park of First Ladies. We'll explain. It's America at Night with me, McGraw Milhaven. Come join us. Tonight at 10 on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Tomorrow night, we'll continue to talk about the energy crisis in America. Former Congressman Keith Rupp is back with us for the first time in a while. But I want to kind of talk about some other things, and I'd love to hear from you. Our phone number is 866-391-1020. What do you miss the most? I just miss the family. I miss the camaraderie. I miss just the togetherness, you know, that dinner table, eating together, laughing. And I don't care what anyone says. The food was great. The food was great. It was. And I don't know how my mom did it, but as tough as it was at times with such a large family, I don't ever remember us not having food. And what I miss the most is just going home as a kid and opening the refrigerator and your dad saying, don't stand there with the refrigerator open. Shut that door. Shut that door. And, you know, this is amazing. My dad got hurt in the war, not because of battle. He was drinking some alcohol and fell off of a ship and lost his hearing in one of his ears. And I would have never told that story if he were alive. Believe me, he'd be waiting in the parking lot. But he never could hear anything, supposedly, right? But he always heard when you didn't want him to hear. And I found out later when he finally got convinced to get a hearing aid for the other ear, he would turn it off when he just had enough of us. He would just sit there and take a sip of his whiskey and smile. You know, hey, how's it going? Yeah, good. And I said to my mother once, I go, he always smiled, but he never, she goes, because he couldn't hear a doggone thing. And she didn't say that, but you know what she said. I'm just saying, I miss that time. You know, every once in a while, when I think of my dad, I go buy a bottle of Menon's Skin Bracer. I do this. I'm goofy, folks. It's who I am. Take me or leave me. And I'll just open it up, put a little splash on the wrist. That's my dad, man. Get a little shot of Crown Royal, take a whiff of it. That's my dad. When I see somebody, you know, with a wooden spoon full of sauce, I think of my mom. And, you know, it's kind of strange. I miss the youth of my sisters and the freckles and the shyness, the tomboy. I mean, I had them all, man. I had them all. I remember I was getting bullied one time by these two guys in the neighborhood who will remain nameless. One, I think, is passed. But they were really causing us some grief. And they were older than us. My sister Cheryl came out, man. Hit this dude with a left-right combination. He was down. I mean, he was down. And then you know what you start doing. You stand behind your sister and you start jawing. That's right. You come back, you're going to get the same thing. No sooner than you were just minutes ago praying for your life, right? Love those girls, man. I miss them. And to see them get older, that's rough, man. And you start thinking about who's first, you know? Who's first? When your parents die, it's rough. But then you realize they've been gone for a couple of decades. So who's up next? It's scary. But I have memories now. I can look at a picture of my siblings or my babies, and I can go right back into that picture because I have memories. I miss things, but what we need to do, we got to get back in that picture. And the only way is by jobs, paychecks, Christmas parties, groceries. Groceries are everything. I love the grocery business. I love promoting Coons Market. I could hang out with them every day. They're like my children, but I don't because they got a job to do and I got a job to do and I'm busy and so are they. But I see them as much as I can because of the connection to their mom and dad who I loved as much as I did my own mom and dad. And I got to tell you, when I lost my family because of stupidity and got divorced, they became my family even more. And that's why I will do everything humanly possible to sell groceries for them because I know how important groceries are. That's why I had Lucia on tonight. Because I wanted her to talk about what they're doing in Rochester. You know, I saw Silver Star. They have a little deli at their home office. They're going to have chili and cheese dogs coming up one day a week. I'm like, that's all I'm thinking about right now. I'm having a hard time staying focused because I'm thinking about those Silver Star chili cheese hot dogs. I love this place, Pittsburgh. It bothers me when I see these parents screaming at that school board with the Pittsburgh Public School. These are their babies. These are their kids. I don't know about you. Nothing brought me more joy than to watch my children eat. It's still such a focal point. I've turned into my father. I look like him. I have the same liver spots. I have the same receding hairline. I'm my dad. And I remember how he would say to me, just sit, eat something. Come on, let me make you a steak, relax. But I was always on the move. But when Tyler and his mother and I got separated, I would get Tyler every once in a while, take him to Mass, and then I'd run him over to my dad's house. And I remember watching this beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed little baby boy who I love more than the moon and back, like I do all my children, with them hands that look like my dad's hands, even though they were on a 10-year-old, watching him hug my dad and my mom hugging him. And, oh, honey this and honey that. I thought I made it. I brought the son's son home. It goes by so quick. But the only way I was able to do all of that is by coming to KDKA Radio. And that's why I'm so blessed to have this job, and I'll never take it for granted. I bring my A game no matter what. I don't care how tired, how sick, no days off, 24/7, because this is the gift, because I get to talk to you about life, about family. That's what I miss the most. And you know, I got to tell you, Peabo Bryson dying, that's like somebody stole something from me. I used to love listening to Peabo Bryson. I used to love going dancing during the week. That pulsating music, a cold beer, looking across the room and making eye contact with someone that you didn't know and like, wow, she's cute. You know, and then that initial conversation. You know what I admired about my parents? And I never had it. You know, you get that 6-month burn, you know, where you meet somebody and it's like fresh and new and, you know, you're checking your hair and is your breath fresh before you go into the house or pick them up for the first 6 months, right? And then things start to change a little bit. Next thing you know, because of the society we live in today, something goes wrong, people throw in the towel. And I'm guilty of it, and I know that. But my parents, it never left, that sparkle. I mean, I would see them when I was in my 40s. I would go to the house with my babies, and I'd see my mom and dad giving each other that look. And I'm like, they didn't even have a drink yet. How can they still be in love after being married 40-some years? But they were. I'd be out driving around, and I look up, and I see my dad's signature Buick coming up over the hill, and my mom would sit low in the seat, but she was like right up against him, like teenagers. They did that because they had to struggle together. And there was no ripcord. There was no parachute. There was no way out. But they knew if they worked together and did their part, which my mother did more than everyone's part, and my dad, if he were here today, he would agree with me. And I'll say that about my children's mothers, especially Robbie and Eva's mom, who, because I was with her longer, lights out. One of the most incredible human beings I've ever been around. Happy for her. I'm happy in my life. It all worked out. But she's an incredible human being. Went above and beyond taking care of my kids. But my parents, they were the glue. They realized that if they didn't stay together, nobody was going to help them. But the thing that made it all possible, including that Singer sewing machine that my mother used to go into a dark, damp basement at night and make everything from slacks, blouses to prom dresses. Because they knew they put in an effort. You know, I'll say this to this day. It wasn't kidney disease that killed my mom, and it wasn't, lung cancer that killed my dad, even though that may be on their death certificate. You know what killed them? Their 6 kids. We worked them into the ground. My dad never missed work. 41 years, he missed 3 days. Fell off a ladder, broke 3 ribs. That's the only time he ever missed work, ever. And he had a few drinks at night and got up in a few hours, but he never missed work. My mom, she never stopped working. She lived for one night a week, Saturday, to go dancing with my dad, put some lipstick on, and then as soon as she got back home, I could hear her say at 2 in the morning, "Want me to make you something to eat?" She was right back at it. Laundry till 2 in the morning. Nobody had a cleaning service. I mean, it was Murphy's oil soap. It was vinegar water. It was cleaning floors on your hands and knees, 3 square meals a day, taking care of 6 kids when you had the same flu. That's why she died at 76, and that's why my dad died at 73. But they wanted us to have a legacy. That's why I get so frustrated about my children and your children in this region. And when we're talking about some of the things that we're talking about, why can't anybody listen to me? Why can't you hear me? You got to create jobs. You got to get off this, I'm a socialist, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a liberal, I'm a conservative, I'm a progressive. Stop it. You are the people we are looking towards to change the course of history. Why do you think I have so many young politicians on? The great Rachel Heislers, the great Jess Benhams. Because I want them to know they've got a place, a platform right here with me to speak to the people. Why do you think I talk so much about public education? Because I know there are a lot of teachers and administrators and parents, especially the great Pittsburgh public schools, that are listening to me right now. And I want you all to know, the phone works 2 ways. You can call me. I'll give you a platform. We've got a Zoom thing. You can link right in. We'll let everybody see and hear you. But if we don't start helping each other, there's going to be nothing left. Am I panicked? Yeah, I am. Because I know I'm going to be 70 in January. I could have retired 5 years ago. I'm here because I want to try to make a difference, and I want you folks to wake up. We need jobs, not 100 here, 200 there, not minimum wage, not, temporary. We need thousands of jobs for future generations. Even if it starts now and I don't get to see it finish, so be it. When that cracker plant went online, they were saying about 250,000 jobs because of the feeder stock, all the companies that would be coming in. Where are they? Shell did their part. Pick up the phone and say, hey, you're in the plastic business? I want to show you something. Please. We got to drill, natural gas, nuclear energy, steel mills. We've got to get back to what made America great the first time. Couple of more calls before we say goodnight. 866-391-1020.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Make 380 Auction of Murraysville your next stop for all your spring needs. Great prices on vegetable and flower flats. Savings every day. 380 Auction has name brand furniture, tools, automotive supplies, pet supplies, lawn and garden, toys, food, and new items arriving daily. 380 Auction is open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 724-339-3132. That's 724-339-3132. Or log on to shop380.com and save.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let's get George on from Clairton. So how's the CIA treating you? Georgie? Where's Georgie? This running joke, I always said he's probably works for the CIA undercover. I don't know where he went. Probably got called out to duty. That's a joke, by the way. All right, that's just a joke. All right, listen, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to take it my own the rest of the way. Because I think I'm making more sense than anyone in the room. And I happen to be the only person in the room, right? If you do not learn from the past and handle your business in the present, you're not going to have a future. You understand the game plan is very simple. We have to work together. I told you earlier, what side are you on? What side are you on? There's only one side to be on. The side of the citizenship. You don't judge anybody because of who they are or what they have. And we have to start loving one another. You know, sadly, we still live in a very racially charged society. Anti-Semitism, which makes me literally sick to the stomach. Black and white, white and black. Asian Americans, Native Americans, those who have Polish roots and Irish and Italian roots. Here it is, 2026. 2026. You know, they say that it was the race riots of the 60s, and it wasn't good. It wasn't. But I feel as though we have regressed so far back that maybe at certain times in our country, especially during the industrial age, rolling into the 20th century, when we were fighting a world war with blacks and whites, Italians and Irish and Polish and you name it, everybody, Latin America, Native Americans, we were all fighting for this country as one. And even though there was that racism, for sure, especially down south, sadly. But when it came to fighting for a common goal, we did it. We don't even fight together anymore. We don't fight together anymore. We don't. And that's sad. You would think, after the path, the course of history that we have taken together, that we would have found our way. You know how when you were a kid and you'd be out in the woods, and the next thing you know, all you saw were trees and foliage and woods, and you kept thinking, well, how do I get out of here? So you just kept walking through those thorn bushes, over those creeks, up a hill, down a hill, a little bit of wildlife here and there, and then all of a sudden, there it was, daylight. You stepped out in it, and for a moment you were a little nervous, But then you finally saw that path that took you to the daylight. And then eventually you'd find yourself walking home or riding your bike with your dog at your side. And yes, we really did do that. And then you would get close to your house, and everybody in the summer, the windows were open. No one had air conditioning. And because of my dad, who was hard of hearing, my mother always spoke a little bit louder. Now, Bob this. And you're getting closer, and you can smell the food. No air conditioning. You'd go in the house. Your mom would be dripping wet because she was cooking sauce, and it was hot as you know what in that kitchen. And those little ranch homes that had those little fans, right, that didn't do any good, but I loved the sound. Probably to this day why I still love the sound of fans. And she said, now wash your hands. And your dad, as soon as she would say that, he would say, is your son home? He better be home. He's never around when I need him. I mean, he was always John, always. Because he was jealous because my mother did everything for me, and he got left out. And he's probably thinking, look, I'm the guy you married. Why don't you serve me first? And then we'd sit down. And, man, it was just golden. We talked as though we were just talking like all day. And there were 4 or 5 conversations going on at one time. And then I had a sister by the name of Janine, who's still with us, who's the funniest person I've ever been around, would tell a joke. And the milk would come out of the nose, and my dad would be, now, dog, rah, rah, rah. Oh, they're just playing. They're just laughing. Don't you want them to laugh? Don't you? There you go, sticking up for that kid again. And then I'd always do the old, Mom, these are the best meatballs I've ever had. And my dad would go, I had it just... And, you know, he would end up laughing after about the second drink. And then my mom, he would leave, go on the couch, read the paper for like 20 minutes, and then he'd go cut grass, work in the garden. The guy never stopped. He'd come back in, a couple of pops of Crown Royal, sound asleep, lights out, and then at midnight, he'd come out of that back bedroom looking for something to eat. It was like standard. But then when he would leave, my sisters and I would do dishes. And that wooden spatula or wooden spoon turned into a microphone. Turn that up. Rosemary Clooney, Keely Smith, Dean Martin, Jerry Vale, Frank Sinatra. You know, I was looking at a picture today, Around the World in 80 Days, just briefly, one of my all-time favorites, 1956 Turner Classic Movies, David Niven. Love David Niven. But a young Shirley MacLaine, who I'm still in love with, and she's in her 90s. I love Shirley MacLaine. And I was looking at her, and I was thinking, I remember seeing her as a 10-year-old in this movie in like 1967 at my grandmother's house when it was that $1 million movie on KDKA. My grandmother would always say, oh, your grandfather and I went on a date. We saw this when it was out in the movies like 10 years ago. And I was just madly in love with Shirley MacLaine. And every time I see someone with like red hair and freckles, first thing I think of, Shirley MacLaine. Everything we've talked about, including that cup of Maxwell House coffee that my parents bought and had to have. Did you get coffee? Do you have coffee? And they didn't like do the little percolator. They had the 10-cup coffee, the big cylinder. It was going constantly because it was the pleasure that they would get. Let's have a cup of coffee. Come over. We'll have coffee. You want some coffee? How about if I make you a cup of coffee? To this day, to me, whenever I see a cup of coffee, it reminds me of my mom. And I was in a place one time many years ago with this beautiful young woman when I was going through some things, said, can I make you a cup of coffee? And gave me a cup of coffee. And as she handed me that coffee, it was like somebody was giving me a golden chalice. I cradled it with both hands, brought it near to my heart, took a sip, and I said, you know what? It's going to be okay. You see, we believed in each other. These little things that made a big difference in our life changed the course of history for all of us, gave us memories that we're hanging on to this day. The groceries, the family reunions, the school picnics at Idora Park or Kennywood, all of this stuff, it came from one thing, jobs. And what is it going to take for me to break through and make you understand, whether it's Nippon U.S. Steel or Royal Dutch Shell or the nuclear power plant in Shippingport or these data centers, $15 billion in Indiana County, thousands of carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who are going to make money, but they're going to spend money in Little Homer City, population 900, going to Indiana County. Meta, Zuckerberg, the genius, 20-year contract with a data center near Shippingport, Pennsylvania, and that nuclear power plant. Are you kidding me? This is what you want. So don't, any time that you hear about a development, large or small, but especially the behemoth, the big one that's going to be 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 permanent jobs, just get out of the way. Let it happen. Let the bulldozers roll. Because you see, the first shovel in the dirt, and I'm going to leave you with this. I don't care if it's a McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, the first shovel in the dirt is digging into a solid future. Jobs, families, food, relaxation, and the most important journey that is life that everybody deserves to be able to look back on, memories. Because without memories, what do you have? You know where I'm going with this. You have no hope